Greetings, Catholic school families. I'm Lincoln Snyder, and I am Director of Schools for the Diocese of Sacramento. We are hard at work planning for our return to school in August, and so I just thought it would be a good time for me to record a brief video and tell you about our plans for return to school for your students. So there's very good news. The state of California has released a series of documents that make it possible for us to get that green light to come back to school. I wanted to talk through what those documents are, talk about our document we're preparing for you, and then just give you an idea of what that return is going to look like. So, the state of California published two different documents about 2 weeks ago, one from the California Department of Public Health and one from the California Department of Education. And I wanted to take a moment to explain the difference. So for us as private schools, as I've shared before, we've been very attentive to what the Departments of Public Health have been telling us about their guidelines and expectations. Public schools have their own guidelines, and they do include feedback from the Department of Public Health, but they also have their own challenges that they have to be attentive to. Things like state legislation, like the Williams Act, that doesn't apply to us as Catholic schools, or their collective bargaining agreements, which we don't have as private schools either. So the state published those documents on the same day, and again, one was from the California Department of Public Health, and the other was from the California Department of Education. The CDE document was a letter to public school leaders, and so many of you have written me and asked me about provisions within that document. We've read it carefully, and there's some good and instructive things in there, but that document was from the Superintendent of Public Instruction to public schools. So it doesn't apply to us. The document that is really important to us is the California Department of Public Health document. I was very blessed that I got some insight into that document while it was being written through our lobbying organization, and they collaborated with us as private schools seeking our input on that document. And so when it came out, we were ready for it. And in response to that, we produced our own document, which is a protocol that outlines all of the things we have to have in place for a safe return to our Catholic schools. So I've got a draft protocol authored for each of our schools, and each of those protocols we've shared with the appropriate Director of Public Health in your given county. So there's a Director of Public Health and a Public Health Officer for each of the counties in which your schools are located. So I've been communicating with them to learn more about their particular expectations. The governor and other public officials have acknowledged that there are differences in our need and how we respond to COVID from county to county. So we've been quite blessed to receive very positive feedback from the counties, and our two biggest counties, Sacramento and Solano, along with others like Butte, Shasta, and Tehama, have approved our plan. I was very pleased to announce that Tehama County actually was the first to approve a plan for any Catholic school or any private school to return to school in the state, and that was a version of this protocol. We're basing our plan on two things. One is cohorts for our elementary schools. We're going to work very hard to keep your kids in specific discrete groups, cohorts. For the elementary schools, that's their classroom, making sure that they're in an environment together, and we're keeping those environments separate from each other to make sure that we're mitigating the risk of spreading an illness from one classroom to another. The other principle is hygiene. We're going to be working very hard to make sure that we're sticking to really good hygienic practice and teaching your students best practice on hygiene. So expect a lot of communication from us in the coming days. I'm going to be asking our principals to share this document with groups like the CSAC or the Parish Council to get input and talk through the details. But really starting sometime in mid-July, you're going to get a final version of this document sent by your principal to you, but it's going to be tailored for each of your schools to make sure that you have the document, you've had time to read it and respond and ask questions, and the principals will be fully prepared to answer those questions. And there'll be an acknowledgement form, just like with the handbook. And when you come to school in August, you'll be fully clear on what the expectations are. You know, students are going to have to bring some new things with them to school that they didn't have to, like sanitizing rags and hand lotion and other things. Some things we're going to provide for your students. So we'll have all those guidelines and very clear about what we'll have for your students at school, things we'll ask you to bring from home, and then what that ritual is going to be every day. You know, some of our counties are asking us to do things like take temperatures at the beginning of the school day. So we'll have full outlines for you, your specific school and your students in the document when it goes out to you. So I think the important thing for us is this, is when we come back in August, we understand that we're still going to be dealing with COVID. But we also understand that it's very important for us to be back in communion and in community together. And we're very excited that we do have a path forward that allows us to be in school every day, 8 to 3, as communities. And we know it's going to look a little bit different than it did, but by making the changes that we provide for in these protocols, it means that we have the opportunity to serve you and your students during the regular school hours, again, Monday through Friday, in our elementary schools next year, which is very exciting for us. We want to have your students in school, they want to be in school, and we also know that it's very important for you as parents to have that safe place available for your students so you can return to work as well. So stay tuned. We're looking forward to communicating out more to you. I'll be reaching out again, and I know your principals will be reaching out. So wishing you all a very blessed summer, much joy and relaxation together as families, and we are looking forward to having you back in school soon. God bless.